Aside from those general options we talked about in the previous lesson, there are a number of advanced options we can customize here in Microsoft Word as well. We're going to take a look at some of them now. We'll continue working with a new blank document here. I want to show you one thing that's kind of neat. Just go around the center of your document, about halfway down the page. You'll notice your mouse pointer changes as we move from the left to the center to the right. And that's because there's something called Click and Type, which is a feature that's turned on automatically, allowing you to double-click anywhere in your document and start typing. So even though there's nothing down there, what we've actually done by double-clicking is we've entered a number of hard returns and centered, all just by double-clicking. If we turn on our Show Hide markers, notice all the hard returns, and there's the centering that takes us to the middle of the page. We'll turn those off. So that's just one of the features that maybe you don't like and would like to turn off. Let's take a look at those advanced options by clicking the File tab, then going down to Options, and selecting Advanced down the left-hand side. So there are some editing options that might be of interest to you. For example, when we select text and start typing, we replace that selected text. That's a default. Most people like it, but you could turn it off if you didn't. When selecting, clicking and dragging across words, entire words get selected, which makes it very difficult to select a part of a word. Let's say you had the word editing and you wanted it to be edit. You can't just click and drag over the ing and delete it because of this feature. This is one that I don't mind turning off. Also, you'll see the use control click to follow hyperlinks. So when you create hyperlinks in a document, you can hold down your control key and click that link to actually go to that hyperlink without having to publish the document on the web, for example. A little further down, you're going to see some other options like Enable Click and Type. That's why we were able to double click in the middle of the page halfway down. If you don't like that feature, it can be turned off as well. And autocomplete suggestions. For example, when typing my name, it automatically wanted to complete my name after I typed in my first name. Well, that's because of this feature, and people don't always like to see those little things popping up and prompting them to do things. That can be turned off by deselecting the checkbox as well. As you scroll through, you'll see a number of different categories like cut, copy, and paste. There's an image size and quality section, a chart section, properties follow chart data point. A little further down, you'll notice document content, show drawings and text boxes on screen. In the old days, you wouldn't actually see those drawings, you'd just see the frames. And a little further down, some display options. The scroll bars I like to see across the bottom of my screen. That's the horizontal one, and the vertical one going up and down. If you don't want to be able to see those, you can deselect them, of course. And the vertical ruler in Print Layout View is kind of handy. Always reminds you the size of the paper that you're going to be using if you were to print it out. A little further down, we have some print options. Printing always takes place in the background by default. Also, scale content for A4 or 8.5 by 11 paper sizes. So if content's going over the margins, etc., you go from a larger size down to one of these. Everything is scaled for you. Also, a little further down, you'll notice we have a general section here, and we can set up some cool things like providing feedback with animation. When you get feedback on screen by selecting things and menus popping up, you might notice a little bit of animation. That takes up computer resources, and we can save memory in our computer by turning things like that off. We don't use sound, but if you like sound as part of your feedback, this could be a nice accessibility option. It can be turned on. Also, a little further down, layout options. These apply to the document you're looking at now. Anytime you see things like layout and compatibility options and the name of your document, any changes you make here only affect the document, not Word in general. So if you have made changes, click OK to save them, and that closes up the options dialog. So those are just a few of the advanced options. You should experiment and browse through them, making Word work the way you want it to work by selecting the appropriate options.